Hello, my name is Harry Hobson. I'm President and CEO of Plymouth Harbor.
And I'm Karen Novak, the Administrator for Strategic Healthcare Initiatives here at Plymouth Harbor.
Very good. I just want to point out, Karen, you're getting very good as far as sharing with us your exact title.
We have got to change this name.
Oh, Karen, we do have some updates here this afternoon for our residents, team members, and family. And also we'll be joined in a few minutes by a special guest that I'd like everybody to meet. And also we'll get to know him a little bit better around here at Plymouth Harbor. So, Karen, why don't we begin as we always do with a campus update, if you would?
It's good to say it's going to be a short and sweet little summary. We have no residents that are positive, and we have no staff persons that are positive. So great news for us. We're heading into the new week with a very low positivity rate in the county, as well as no residents and no staff team members positive.
And Karen, right now, what is the latest information you have on that positivity rate in Sarasota County?
For Sarasota County, the Department of Health is reporting we have a 2.6% of positivity here in the county. That's important for us to know because today's our very last day of testing under the governor's order. And beginning tomorrow, we actually fall under a new protocol for testing for COVID. From 0 to 4.99%, we'll be testing once a month. For 5.0 to 9.9%, we'll be testing once a week. And anything over 10%, we're going to be testing our staff twice a week. So it is great to have those low numbers. It'll be great to test the staff only once a month. It really kind of shows us how well we are doing here in Sarasota and how well we're doing here at Plymouth Harbor. So I encourage you to keep up the good work, keep that social distance, your hands washed, and keep those masks on.
Absolutely. And Karen, I know that we're going to be doing new testing. And the good news about the testing is how quickly we're going to get the results. As we know, and I know from personal experience, I was tested again yesterday, I think for my 8th or 9th time now. And once I get tested, I know it's going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 days before those results will be coming in. Now, my next go around as other team members here under the new testing, that's going to go from 5 to 7 days to what?
It'll go to 15 minutes. We have been given by the state of Florida what's called a BD Veritor. It's a rapid test that allows us to incubate a specimen for 15 minutes, and then we'll get the result at that point. But last night, even better, we got an email from CMS saying Abbott has actually come out with a new testing device, and it's kind of like a pregnancy test, but not really. It allows us to do a nasal swab, put the nasal swab into some solution, and then drop that solution onto a little card-like device. And within 5 minutes, we'll know if that person is positive or negative. Not sure quite what day we're going to be getting this. It did say that the distribution was going to start today, but also it will continue throughout December. So at some point between now and December, we hope to get the test from Abbott. That's great news for us. We'll be able to do even our staff, the staff members, as well as visitors possibly in our visitation station, or those going to the Smith Care Center or the ALF or the memory care, or even some of the residents that may just need that test done right now before they go to the doctor's office. So stay tuned. Things are really coming along rather quickly. I think once we know how, now it's all the vendors and the different pharmacies or the pharmaceutical companies that will actually be coming out with a product that is really very good and going to really enhance those outcomes for all of us.
What a game changer. Think about it, going from 5 to 7 days, going in some cases 5 to 7 minutes, or even if it's 15 minutes, that changes the whole validity of what we're doing with testing and why we're doing it. So I'm excited about it, and I know you are too.
I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled that we have this opportunity to really get those results right away. And if indeed it is positive, to contain that pathogen and help prevent that spread of that particular virus. So good news.
Speaking of good news, we continue to have success with our visitation stations. Those are for our residents in the Smith Care Center, Star Memory Care Residences, and Seaside Assisted Living. It's gone very well. I've been over there. I've observed from a distance some of the visitations. And I know, Karen, you've gotten some very nice notes back from family members as well.
I have, and they are just so heart touching to know that, for the time that they're with their loved one, it truly makes a difference. And I was over there not too long ago and just got to witness a beautiful reunion, and it just brought tears to my eyes because I know it was just so meaningful to all the parties, not just necessarily the family, but the residents as well. And that's why we do it, for those opportunities to make better.
Well, in the areas that I just mentioned, but I want to be sure and emphasize again, from our independent living standpoint, as long as our numbers continue to hold, and they're holding very nicely, we could begin to gradually open up the campus for guests to independent residents within maybe the next plus or minus 10 days. So that's good news, and I know that's going to make some people happy.
I have them chomping at the bit, calling quite often when we can have people visit. But ultimately, our goal is to make sure that we're safe when we do this. And I know sometimes it seems like it's never going to happen, but truly to come away this far into this virus, 6 months, and not have anybody positive, that says we're doing the right thing. So we're going to continue the course to keep everybody safe here at Plymouth Harbor.
Right. So that's very good. And Karen, we've discussed our COVID update, our visitations, and let me just give a couple of updates before we have our special guest join us. And that is an update regarding the elevators and the hurricane window installation. Things are progressing regarding the modernization of the tower elevators. The elevator 3, and that's the first one that we modernized, that will be completely finished by the 25th. So we're out just inside of 2 weeks, and then we move on to elevator 2, and that will start immediately at that point, and that should be concluded in mid-December. And then finally, elevator number 1, which will be our last one in the tower, that'll begin just before the holidays and conclude by March 17th. And then we will have that project behind us and some real enhancements in all of those elevators. Regarding the window replacements, the primary disruptor we've had is really just at the manufacturing level. It's been delayed a little bit, but we are, George McGonigal, I met with George earlier today, our Vice President of Facilities, and he is optimistic that we'll begin the North Garden on Monday, and that's October 5th. And that project would conclude before the holidays. That's huge for us. And then we'll begin the tower right after that. So we're moving ahead with that. As I said, there's a little disruption. No one's fault. It's just at the manufacturing and supply level, getting what we need into Venice and then getting them out here on site. But George remains optimistic, as do the contractors. So that is moving along. And I just thank George McGonigal and his team and the contractors for staying with this project. It's very important to us, as everyone knows. So
Harry,
go ahead.
Speaking about the first week of October, I want to remind our residents that we are going to have our flu clinic at the very 1st of October. We're going to be using the quadrivalent type of flu vaccine. It's the 4 most common virus strands that are kind of put together in one vaccine. We will bill Medicare, so you don't have to worry about payment. It's at no cost other than Medicare to you. We're going to be doing it in the club room, socially distant, but we're keeping that out there in the front so that you are aware. It will be the beginning of October. I'm anticipating the vaccines coming in probably late September, early October. So as soon as we get the vaccines in, we'll coordinate that date for probably the beginning of October and get that information out to you.
Karen, when somebody asks you the question, when is the sweet spot, if you will, when is the ideal time to get my flu shot? How do you respond to that?
As soon as you can, here at Plymouth Harbor. Our flu season tends to start a little bit later than up north and last a little bit longer. I would say make sure that you have your flu shot by at least November 1st. But most importantly this year, you really need to get your flu shot. We're anticipating a real buy one, get one free whammy, if you will, with the COVID as well as the flu, kind of giving the hospitals and physicians a run for their money. I think the majority of epidemiologists, as well as some of the physicians at the NIH and the CDC, are really quite worried that it's going to be a very intense winter this year. So by all means, do get your flu vaccine this year.
You know, I'm an optimistic person, and I think folks have figured out both of us are on the same level of being conservative. And we're excited about reopening certain venues here that haven't been open for a while. We're excited about gradually open up the campus for outside guests and family members, but also we'll be watching those numbers every day. And you know, I'm going to say there's probably going to be a time that we'll have to say we're going to have to close it back down for a few days or a couple of weeks, whatever that is. But if we have to do that, we'll let you know about it in plenty of time. We'll let you know exactly why we're doing it. But hopefully we've built a track record with all of our residents, our team members, and our family members that we're doing it for one reason, and that's for our residents, team members' health and well-being. So we're hoping for the best. Okay.
And together we'll get there.
We really will. Well, what I'd like to do is ask everybody to stay with me, and I'd like to invite into our meeting right now a new member of our team. And I'd like to officially welcome Curtis Cornell. Curtis is our Director of Dining Services here at Plymouth Harbor. And Curtis, you've just completed your first full week. How'd it go?
It went great, I tell you. And just by the looks of the Year 2 office, I see that I need to spruce mine up a little bit. And just to give you an idea of what I got to walk into, this was great. So I'm going to put this right back here.
And hopefully you felt the welcome.
Yes, I did. It was amazing. It was such a great, warm welcoming. As I walked through the halls, from the residents to the team members, it was truly a warm, welcoming experience. And you know, you can't write a script any better than that. So I thank you very much for setting all that up. And it's a great opportunity. I'm great that I'm here.
Outstanding. And you know, for those that don't know, Chef Renee, who was with us about 10 years, retired about, 3, maybe going on 4 months ago now. And we did conduct a national search, and we feel very fortunate to cross our paths with Curtis. And after a long interview process, I'm not sure how many times we had you on and off campus and Zooming, and you also had the opportunity to interact with our dining committee as well during that vetting process. But we're very pleased that we chose each other and looking forward to a long relationship. Curtis, tell folks a little bit about yourself. Give us some background.
Well, I'm the youngest of 7, raised by a single mom. I was born in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. So being near the water has always been something that has always been a passion of mine. It's always driven me back. Raised in Kentucky, lived in a little coal mining town there. Then back to Florida, graduated high school up near Chicago. And then after about, half a half a year up there in my first winter experience what true Chicago, the Windy City weather was like. I was like, I got to get out of here. This is too cold for this Florida blood. So came back down to Tennessee for a brief while, back down to the panhandle of Florida, Orlando, Key West, and then up to South Carolina. And now I've landed where I've wanted to be for a very long time, was in the Tampa, Sarasota area. And after having the opportunity to kind of travel from St. Pete to Tampa during these odd times, really Sarasota was somewhere where I was really pointing my finger at the map. And when the opportunity came up to apply for the position, I read the job description, and it was something that was a little bit outside of the wheelhouse from in regards to coming from the resort industry into more of the medical field. It really started to speak to me and said, wow, where can I make a really, really strong impact and become part of something bigger than myself and provide an experience for dining for a captive audience and kind of share with some of the things that I've learned over the course of my career and to bring in this environment was something that was really attractive to me whenever I was reading over the job description and also looking over the website. And I tell you, if you haven't been to the Plymouth Harbor website, you should go look at it because it'll make you want to be here even when you're here, because the panoramic views are just incredible place to be. It's actually really uplifting.
Well, Curtis, we're so pleased to have you here. I know as oftentimes we find people in this area, you had some good experience with the Disney World resorts. That always is important because you really have the opportunity to work. The expectations on quality are there, hospitality is there, and that's what we were looking for. We've got such a great team here. Most of the residents are certainly familiar with Franco and Carlos and Tasha and Debbie and the list goes on and on. And it was important to bring you here to help pull all of this together. And I know because I asked you in your interview about being a team player and a team leader. And I don't know if you want to comment on how you look at team play.
Well, I think it's integral, right? And I think the question that the conversation that we were having was, are leaders born or are they made? And I think it's a little bit of a combination of both, but the leader doesn't make themselves. So people that are around them make them leaders, because all of a sudden they're coming to you and they're wanting you to fix all their problems or answer their questions. But it does take a team mentality, regardless if you're the captain of the team. You have to bring along everybody with you because you can't do it all by yourself. And that was one of the other things that really made this position very attractive to me, is whenever I had the opportunity to speak with Carlos and Franco during the interview process, because during the conversation I had with them, I was interviewing them just as much as they were interviewing me, whether they know it or not, because it's a mutual relationship. I can choose to come here and they can choose to have me. And the conversations I was having with them was, there's these two ember fires ready to just take off. They know the direction that they want to go. And from the brief time that they've had the opportunity to make some changes, they've made some changes, and it's showing for the positive. So now it's part of my responsibility to come in and support them and give them guidance and push the dining services department into a direction it hasn't been going before, and showing new light. So I was super excited to have two passionate leaders within the department, because if that's where the leadership is, everybody else is behind them, blazing the trail with them. And I can't wait to get that all started for them and support them in the right way.
And I did want to spend time during our interview process on leadership, because I call it the leadership sandwich, and I think it's important because I don't know when any of us stop looking toward being mentored. Okay, but the other side of that sandwich is being a mentor and bringing other people along, and I felt that was important as you joined our family here at Plymouth Harbor. Because we've got some real good people that through ongoing mentoring, they're going to progress and progress with our organization as well. And you sold us on the fact that yes, you do listen, and you also reach out and develop people.
Yeah, I think it's a guilty pleasure of leadership, right? You identify some things that people don't see in themselves, and all you have to do is give them that gentle nudge, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Wow, I can do this." And whenever you have someone, whether it's finishing school or getting the job promotion or just being successful in life, it's kind of one of those things where you get to kind of sit back and you can say, I think I might have had just a little bit, just a fraction to do with all of that. But of course, the individual has to take it the whole way. But it is a guilty pleasure of leadership that I find ultimately probably the most rewarding part about being a leader.
Music to my ears. I mentioned in our last update, and I'll continue to mention it, and Curtis, is something that you're not real familiar with, but I promised to our residents, and that is, I think our last cafe chat, Karen, was February 27th, I believe. And we're actually going to start that up again. And the way we're going to do it is a little different format. And in about 2 weeks, and the residents, those residents who've joined our family in 2020 will be receiving an invitation, along with the Resident Association leadership, to join me in a cafe chat. And I wanted to start it that way because, quite candidly, the last 7 months, I've not had the opportunity to really get to know so many of the residents, the new residents. That's going to give us that opportunity. It's a great venue. Looking forward to it. I will be following that up then with at least 2 more cafe chats where we'll take different portions of the campus, so we have kind of a controlled environment. And I always look, as I'm doing right now, to Karen. If she's smiling when I say this, that's okay. But if I don't follow social distancing, then that smile turns different.
Yes, it does.
So I will be working.
One of the first times I met with Curtis, he passed immediately because I gave him a pack of surgical masks and KN95s, and he took them with great joy. So that tickled my heart.
Great. Curtis, I know, and our residents are listening very intently. In fact, some of them right now are moving to the edge of their chair because as we talk about reopening the Mayflower dining room, and other venues in the campus, that's very important. It's very important we do it right. And I know that you and the leadership, your team, have had this discussion. And while we can't give the details, obviously we know a little more than we're going to share today, but that's very important to you and your team. You shared with me earlier as far as reopening with controls.
Absolutely. The team members are so excited to get back to business as usual. And that business as usual, I mean, it's we talk about the mutual relationship, them coming in the job, part of the joy that they get, and that's the reason why they chose this profession, is the interaction with people as well. So just as much as the residents want to get back into the dining rooms and get back to the social portion of a dining experience, the service staff is also just as equally eager because they want to get out there and they want to share their stories. They want to interact with the residents and also provide some exceptional customer service and deliver some extraordinary food as well. With the new atmosphere that we're kind of entering into, yes, it's going to be a little bit different of a dining experience. There's going to have to be practice social distancing. The tables we have already removed. If you've had the opportunity to tour around the campus in the dining room, you'll see that there's far less tables than there was during the normal dinner service. That allows us to keep everyone safe. That allows us to practice serving according to the regulations to keep everyone safe. And that's our ultimate goal at the end of the day, is to keep everyone safe and to keep everybody fed and happy. Right. And so, but also become part of that dining experience. And I know that whenever I return back to the dining scene, I just want to be able to people watch just like how we always did, and also congregate and meet with friends and have those conversations and catch up. But it's going to be very, very, very important that we practice those social distancing guidelines so we can continue to move forward with the other dining openings. Not quite sure when all those are going to happen yet, but this is going to be a great indicator on how successful we are from a service staff, and also how our residents are from this new opportunity coming back down and enjoying the Mayflower dining room.
I think that what's been important over the last several months now, and that is how our residents have experienced a different menu, something that has a little more variety to it, and I know that's very important. But the other thing I also want to mention to many of our residents and their families, and that is the importance of Seaside Assisted Living, the Star Memory Care residences as well, because we will be embracing and continue to embrace dining experience in those areas as well. So it's not just all about independent living. It's also about the Smith Care Center, our nursing home, Seaside Assisted Living, and the Star Memory Care residences. So pretty comprehensive in nature, and we're going to get it done. We're excited about it. So, and I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add, Curtis, at this point before we close.
No, I look forward to meeting every one of the residents. Everyone that I've had an opportunity to speak with so far has been fantastic. I've gotten some great feedback, some great phone calls, and some emails. Someone who actually taught at the high school that I went for my freshman and sophomore year, and I actually just sent her, she sent me a copy of her yearbook that I guess was back in the 1950s, and I sent her my yearbook from 1993. But if you see me walking around, I'm the tall guy with the mask on. But if you see me, please don't hesitate to stop me. I would love to catch up with you. I'm on your time, so don't worry about me. But I would love to just make sure that if you want to have a conversation with me, I'm always open to have that talk.
Oh, that's wonderful. And we've been successful with Eric Hugan in our HR department. He's been really a very good recruiter for us. And Karen, I know, in fact, we're in a recruiting process right now, and that's going very, very busy right now. We've not yet found the ideal candidate, but that's for a director of nursing position that we have here in our home care department. And because Heather Dawn has moved over into care management as the director of nursing, that has now opened up that position. So I know we're excited to find just that right person. It's a great job as a director of home care. So
yes, you get the opportunity to interact with so many of our residents and really keep them involved and know where they're at and follow them throughout the continuum of care here at Plymouth Harbor. It's an exciting job. No 2 days are the same, and we are actively looking for an incredible dynamic DON.
So we look forward to when we'll bring that person in as a special guest, as we did Curtis today.
Absolutely.
So, Curtis, what we do at this point is I kind of lean over toward Karen and ask her if you'd like to close this video out today. What would you say?
Absolutely, I would love to. We want to remind everybody, please take the time to wash your hands. Take those few extra seconds to really get in there with that soap and lather. We want you to hit those high contact areas, the light switches, your keys, and those cell phones. Wipe them down quite often to get rid of all those germs. Remember to keep that social distance, and it's okay to tell somebody to back up. Remember, it's your safety that you're looking out for. But most importantly, in a time where you can make a difference, we're going to use this as a tool now and a step to help us get rid of this COVID virus. So if everybody will just wear their mask, we can help reduce that rate down terrifically. Most well. That didn't come out right, but wear your mask. It's going to really help us in the long run.
Karen, thank you very much. Curtis, one more time, welcome, and so happy you joined us on today's update.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
That brings the end of this video, so it's time for us to don our masks.